Hi again, pre-calculus students. Welcome to section 1.3. That's right, it's linear equations. How easy is that? Um, it might be very easy, but I think you need a refresher, right? Especially for those of you who are juniors too, and you're going to be taking the SAT, right? We need some refresher. So anyway, this is really just an examples video then, because I'm assuming you know that the slope-intercept form of a line is y equals mx plus b, right? That's a form that you see a lot, meaning this is where you begin on the y-axis, and this is how you move, right? Slope and y-intercept. An actual more useful form for an equation is the point slope form. And this is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1, where x1 and y1 are a solution point on the graph, and m is the slope, right? Actually much more useful because what if you haven't been given a y-intercept, you've just been given a solution point? It's much easier to write the equation in this form and switch it to this, because you know how, right? Rather than trying to write in this form, though we will do it once today, just in case that's what you prefer. Okay, so let's take a look. So some examples, I just wanted to make sure that you can recognize the difference between horizontal and vertical lines when there's a zero slope or no slope. So they did ask you to graph lines in this section. I don't think you need to do that. I kind of just need you to do the algebra. I don't need you to do the graphing. So I will do a little here just to make my point. Okay, so let's take a look. They were asking you to find the slope and the intercept given y plus 4 equals 0. So notice that if you could write in slope-intercept form, you would see the m and the b sitting right there. So let's get that y alone on the left by subtracting a 4 from both sides, right? Y equals -4. But you're like, well, okay, I think I see the y-intercept, but I don't think I see the slope. But we do, right? Because this is the same equation, right? Because I have 0 x's, right? So my slope is 0 and my y-intercept is -4. What does this picture look like? Let's take a look. This is slope of 0 through the point negative, we have y-intercept of -4. Is this graph right here, this horizontal line. Plus, take a look. Every single point on this line, here's the point 0, -4, 1, -4, 2, -4, right? Notice that as the x changes, the y is always -4, hence the y equals -4 line, because no matter what x is, that y is changing, okay? How about on number 28? They ask you to find the slope and the y-intercept given the equation x minus 2 equals 0. Well, notice when I try to put it in slope-intercept form to see the slope and the intercept, sorry about that, I can't write it in that form. I don't have a y, so I'm going to have to work with this one on my own. That's okay. We're smart enough to do that. Let's add, and we've had enough experience, let's add a 2 to both sides. X equals 2. All right, let's take a look. Let's graph this line. X equals 2. All right, well, I need 2 points to make a line. Well, let me pick 2 points where the x is 2. And I guess the y can be anything it wants, right? The point 2, 0 is a solution point, right? The point 2, -3, the point 2, 1, right? All of these points fit the equation are solutions to x equals 2. Let's go ahead and graph them. That is 2, 0, 2, -3, and 2, 1. Look at that. It's a vertical line, right? And we know a vertical line, the slope is undefined. Because if you try to find the slope between any of these 2 points, when you do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, you're going to be dividing by 0, and that slope is undefined, right? So in the picture, the slope is undefined. Algebraically, if I try to find the slope between these 2 points, I would get an undefined value. What is the y-intercept? Look at that, never touches the y-axis. So B is none. There we go. Now, they want us to write y equals mx plus b for a line that has a slope of 1/4 and goes through the point E2. Now, I'm going to do this 2 different ways. I'm going to do it the way I prefer. And that is, I know they want the slope intercept form from me, but I don't have an intercept. This 8,2, if I graphed it, it's not on the y-axis. So they gave me a slope and a point. I think I should use the point slope form. And then just, I know how to move everything around legally, so it looks like slope intercept form. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's write the slope intercept form. There we go. And let's fill it in. Here is the slope of 1/4. Here is my x1 is 8. Right? And my y1 is 2. So I did the hard part, right? I wrote an equation, and I know how to get it in this form right here. Take a look. There's no parentheses here, right? I need to get rid of the parentheses. And 1/4 times 8 is 2. So I have a -2. And I need the y alone. I will add a 2 to both sides. And my final answer is y equals 1/4 x. So when I've been given a point and a slope, I prefer to use the point slope form and then just move things around so it's in y-intercept form. What if you want to go, well, I want to use this because that's what they want from me. Let's do it again a second way. We'll see that we get the same line. Okay. Okay. Y equals mx plus b. I don't have a y-intercept, but I do have the slope. There we go. So if I had the b, I'd be all set. So I see what they gave me. They gave me an x, they gave me a y, and I can use those to solve for b and put it right there. So I have 2 equals 1/4 times a plus b, and I get 2 equals 2 plus b. Obviously, b has to be 0 because 2 equals 2 plus b, or you could just subtract a 2 from both sides. There we go. There's my final answer. Same thing that I just had. Okay. Number 70. Write slope intercept form when you've been given these 2 points. Okay. Notice neither one is a y-intercept. Okay. Notice they didn't give me the slope, but I know the slope formula. So we're going to get the slope first, put it right here. And then we're going to use the point slope form and rewrite it. Okay, you with me? Let's take a look. X1, Y1, X2, Y2. I picked this one because it has fractions in it. So Y2, doing the slope formula, minus Y1 all over X2 minus X1. I'm just checking to make sure I wrote it right. There we go. I did. Okay. Well, I don't like this here in the numerator. So take a look at this one. Would you agree 1 is 3/3? It's still 1, but now I can do the math here, right? Negative 2/3 minus a 3/3 is a negative 5/3. Right, over 6 minus 1 is 5. If you don't mind, I'm going to call that a 5/1 because rather than divide by a fraction, I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal. Right? And I get a negative 1/3 here. A negative 1/3 is my slope. Got got to be really careful with your negatives and with your fractions. It's good, healthy brain work. Okay, let's take a look. Now they want y equals mx plus b form, but I'm going to use a point and a slope. So I'm going to write the point slope form. There we go. I'm going to put the slope in that I just found. And I have to put just one of these points in. Obviously, I'm going to use the 1, 1, right? I don't want to deal with that 6 and negative 2/3. It doesn't matter. Half the class could put in 1, 1. Half the class could put in 6 and negative 2/3. And when they write it in slope-intercept form, they're going to have the same equation. Pretty cool, huh? Okay, so I'm going to use 1, 1. There we go. Okay, got to get rid of my parentheses. Y minus 1 equals negative 1/3 x. And this is going to be a positive 1/3. There we go. All I have to do now is get the y alone. I am going to add a 1 to both sides. There we go. And now I have y equals over here. Watch carefully. I'm running out of room. Mx negative 1/3 x plus this b. I just have 1/3 plus 1. So if it's okay with you again, I'm going to make my 1 3/3. And now I can do this better. 1/3 plus 3/3 is 4/3. So before I erase that and put 4/3, just take a look, right? There we go. I only have room for so much board in my living room. And there's our final answer. There you go. Okay. I gave you, we're going to do number 88 together. I gave you number 87 and 89. It's really best to stay organized on this problem. Getting lost in the problem is the hardest thing for students. Okay, so I would suggest setting it up this way, making yourself 2 columns. All right, so I'm going to pull it in a little bit. There we go. Okay, for the end here. All right, given this line, x plus y equals 7. And you could graph that line, right? There's a lot you could do with it. And this point, negative 3, 2. Now, notice, first of all, this point, negative 3 and 2, does not make that equation true. This point is not on this line. If you graph this line and this point, you would see that they're not on the same line. And in fact, let's go ahead and do it, okay? What I'm going to do first is the line that they gave me, it would be easier for me to graph in y equals mx plus b form. So I'm going to subtract an x from both sides here. And I'm going to circle it, right, so that you know, like it's a match. And take a look here. If I graph this, right, so 1, kind of running out of room. If I graph this, it has a y-intercept of 7 and a slope of negative 1, right? So it goes like that. You would be able to graph that. And they gave us the point negative 3, 2. Right, that's right here. Notice, obviously, not on that line. So what do they want from you? They want you to write the equation of a line here that goes through this point and is parallel to the line that we drew. I'm going to do that in purple. They want this line right here. Okay, so let's do that first, right? And we know how to do this. Now, notice we're going to do point slope form, right? Because I have a point and I do have a slope, right? We know what this slope is here. So let's take a look. So y minus my y1 is 2 equals, okay, now I need my slope. Well, parallel lines have the same slope. Take a look. My slope right here is a negative 1. And so my purple line must also have a slope of a -1. X minus, and my x1 is -3. Watch those negatives. Now it's going to become positive. Excellent. They do want it in slope intercept form. So I know how to do that. I'm going to do some quick math. Right, distributing, adding the 2 to both sides. Y equals -x minus 1. Notice when you look at my purple line, that could be, except for my drawing being off a little bit, a -1 slope, and it should have gone through a -1. It's just my bad drawing. That's why Mrs. Kalinowski teaches geometry and they don't let me, right? Look at that. Anyway, okay, on over here. Now, they also want you to, gonna use some blue here, write the equation of a line that is perpendicular to this one and goes through this point. Let's draw a picture of that, right? So perpendicular to this black line and through that point. They want us to draw the equation of this blue line. Okay, let's do point slope form first. Okay, so y minus y1 is 2 equals, oh, the slope of the blue line. I'm not sure. Let's leave a blank. Let's put m for a second. X and then minus x1 is +3. All right. How are the slopes of perpendicular lines related? How are they related? Now, I'll put it right here. If we were in class, I would have you answer it. And someone would say, perpendicular lines have slopes that are opposite in sign and reciprocals. Does that sound familiar to you? Perpendicular lines have slopes that are opposite in sign and reciprocals. So the slope of the black line is -1, and I'm going to write that as -1 over 1. The opposite would be a positive, right? 1 over 1, right? So my slope must be 1. And when you look at that, that definitely is a positive slope. So I think my slope is a 1. So please remember, perpendicular slopes have opposite reciprocals. There we go. So I think my slope's a 1. Okay. May want to stop the video before. Maybe you want to write that. I'm going to erase that. No. Okay. There we go. Distribute the 1. Add a 2. And I get that blue line is x plus 5. Take a look. How'd I do? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ooh, almost, right? Definitely a positive slope. So first, when you've been given the line and the point, write the line you were given in slope intercept form so you can see the slope. Same slope, opposite reciprocal slope. Use the point. Make yourself a nice chart. Last problem, I gave you 117, so here's 118, just like it. Here's what they do. They want you to write a linear equation. Now, it's not super clear, because we're used to y equals x's and y's, y equals mx plus b, right? But they wanted you to write a linear equation that outputs a value when a time has been put in. So I wrote that for you. Remember this for problem 117. Instead of an x, your input is going to be a time, and instead of a y, your output is going to be a value. That's why they used v. Okay, now what they gave you is that in 2010, and they're telling you that's a time of 10, not a time of 0, that the value of, I don't know, let's call it a painting, was $156. Okay. Now the rate is, I forgot to put whether it was increasing or decreasing. It was going up, it was increasing by $4.50 a year, its value. Notice that if its value had been decreasing per year, I would put a negative on that 450. Okay, and they want you to write an equation of a line that at any time would give the value for any year that you have. Now, here's what I want you to know. You have everything you need actually to write the equation of a line, right? You have what they're trying to tell you here. I'll circle this in purple, is at a time of 10 that the value is 156. They just gave you 1 point in time. Okay, and they gave you a slope when they said that if for every 1 year it's increasing $4.50. So what am I going to do? I am going to use a point slope form. You can use their form right here and work out your B. You're welcome to do that, but I am going to use the point slope form because that's what I have, a point and a slope. Okay, but my Y's, I'm going to make these. And my X's, I'm going to make T's. Okay, now I'm going to fill it in. The slope is 450. There we go. The initial time, T1, is 10. Would have been nice if they had made that a time of 0, right? Would have been easy. The volume, right? The initial volume they gave me was 156. Okay. I know how to write it in this form. I need to get rid of the parentheses and get the V a T alone. I'm going to distribute the 450. Obviously, 4.5 times 10 is 45, and I will add 156. And I get V of T. I was forgetting to put my T. I was being lazy. There we go. Equals 450 T. And let's see, that's going to be plus 111. Am I right when I subtract those two? I am. There we go. So 117 is exactly like this. Can be a little confusing. So take good notes here and then follow along on 117. Have a great day.